Hey everybody, I am Kate with Crate Insider, and today I am here with Grant Garrison. And Grant, you're a race car driver, but I'd love to know, how did you get started racing?
I got started when I was about 5 or 6 years old. My dad and my uncle went in on a go-kart for me, and after that it all went downhill, and we're still going after it. So been at it, I guess.
Well, you're 20 now.
Yeah, so about 15 years. I've been driving a crate late model since I believe this is my 5th year driving a crate. So we've definitely made a climb, I guess, in the dirt racing world, but it's been a journey, that's for sure.
Well, and let me ask you this, because I know a lot of times we see young racers out there, and we have to wonder that was everything kind of handed to you? Because I know that's something that I'm sure you've heard that a lot.
No, not. I have heard that a lot, to be honest with you, but it definitely was. It's far from being handed to me. We, like I was telling you earlier, if people knew what I go through and what my brother goes through and my dad especially goes through a week just to get to the racetrack, it would make a whole different respect that people would have. You know, I work a full-time job, which that comes first. My brother goes to school, you know, that's 16 hours a week, and homework on top of that. My dad, he works as much as he can, no matter what. And then we got racing on top of that. And, we don't have any hired help or anything. So it's all a family deal. And, we'll be out there till 2, 3 in the morning, whatever we have to do. And just to get it done, we've been around Daryl our whole life, Yes. And, he's been like family for us, and my whole life especially, and we know how he runs his program, and we run ours the same way as he would run his. So it's definitely ran top notch, but without the full-time hired help. And so it's definitely difficult, and it sometimes when you don't run good, it definitely doesn't make racing fun at all, and really it's not worth it. But yeah, it's a lot to go through.
So what are some of those things that a lot of people aren't going to know what it takes between the time you load up your car from the last race and unload it to the next race? What are some of the things in your maintenance program, or what you do on a weekly basis in order to keep like a really strong program?
Well, first thing we'll do when we get home, we'll leave here, drive 5 hours home, and probably as soon as we get home, we'll unload and start washing. We'll wash the car first and push it inside, and then the hauler comes next. Everything gets washed every week. Our hauler, nothing leaves the shop unless it's spotless clean, first off. But and then you got to go through the whole maintenance of the car, and that's on top if you tear anything up. So you never really know what you're going to be handed there. And sometimes you got to leave Wednesday the next week. So it's not unusual to pull an all-nighter, because then you got to be up for work at 8 in the morning the next morning. So it's I hate my dad sometimes for getting me involved in this stuff, but like I said, when you run good, though, it makes it all worth it. So and like I said, we're doing it as a family, and really that means more to me than anything. It's pretty cool. Not everybody gets to go out with their dad and their brother and their grandpa. Every race we go to, it's us, and my uncle comes, and it's pretty fun. It's really fun.
That's awesome. And I probably should have led with this question, but tell me, where are you from?
I'm from Walton, Kentucky. It's northern Kentucky, but it's about 20 minutes south of Cincinnati. But that's where we're based out of.
Now, what would be something else that you would love for your fans to know, or, well, heck, even your haters? What would you like them to know about you?
I hope I don't have many haters, but
I
know there's some out there, but I don't know. I mean, like I said, I wish people knew. I think it's cool that you're doing this interview because you don't get a whole lot of people asking what you have to go through every week to run on, to run these big shows, especially because you want to make sure your stuff's ready to go perfect. And like I said, I'd like them to know, just like I said, what we go through every week, because it's an absolute grind. And if you aren't 120% dedicated to it, you won't get the results. And even when you're 120%, sometimes it's still hard, So, but we do everything right, as far as as much as we can anyway, and that's about all we can do. So.
Now, what advice would you have for maybe someone who's just getting started in racing? Do you have some words of advice for them?
My words of advice would have to be, first off, be humble through the whole process of through your whole career. It doesn't hurt being humble through anything, and just try to learn every time you're out on the racetrack. Try learning every single time. And that's a lot of, when I was little, going with Daryl and watching him, I tried learning everything I could every time I was with him. And then that relayed over to when I started racing, and I just paid attention, and I tried to get better every week, and it eventually pays off. I can remember when I was just starting out, I was kind of in a slump, like, man, when am I going to learn how to do this? And like I said, I don't feel that I'm even near to the top yet, but I feel like we've done pretty well, you know what I mean? And let me stop you.
And speaking of that, tell my viewers some of the accolades you've earned, some of your championships, that type of thing.
Well, when we first started, we started at Florence Speedway, and we would just run strictly at Florence, and just to get the hang of it, just so I could get the feel for it. And then the second year, we fully committed to the points and won a points championship. So each year and then after that year, we kind of notched it up. Okay, we're going to travel around regionally a little bit. So every year, like we've all sat down and like kind of set goals with what we were wanting to do. And then after we started traveling regionally, we kind of got the hang of that and started running pretty good. And at the end of the year, I can remember we went down to Magnolia for the Neesmith Championship for the 10,000 to win race, and I think I ran 5th in that race. And I told my dad, I was like, if you want to, run a series, like, because he had been telling me he wants to do that, I said, I think I can run with him. And he said, well, we'll see if you can or not. So the next year we ran the Neesmith, and we won Rookie of the Year. And so, like I said, every year we've tried to just set goals and constantly climb, you know what I mean? And that's the key, though. You can't set goals that are impossible to reach for where you're at in your career. You just got to take it one step at a time, and you look back down of where you've climbed to, and it pays off, and you just take it one step at a time. It's not a fast process, really. Some it goes faster than others, but you got to keep on grinding at it, and you'll get there eventually.
That's awesome. Now, I do one more question. Actually, I have a couple more, but one more question is who would you like to thank for the fact that you're even here?
First and foremost, I'd like to thank my dad. There's there's no way I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now if it wasn't for him. He's risked a lot and definitely put me in the best equipment possible. And secondly, I got to thank Daryl Lanigan. That guy, he's been huge, and like I said, he's been a huge help with my car, all my cars that I've had, and driving has been huge. You know, it's hard for my dad to tell me what I'm doing exactly, you know, but when Daryl's around or if he watches a video, he'll call me and, you know, help me out that way. And let's see here, Jason Jameson, he helped a ton when I was a couple years ago. He was driving for Daryl and we were hauling him around, and he was a huge help because he kind of opened my eyes, because, you know, we were together all the time, you know what I mean? And as far as like how the car worked and everything, he really opened my eyes to everything that you can possibly do to a race car. And I mean, me and him still talk every week, and even with driving, he, you know, broadened, you know, my mind with that as well. And so yeah, those three people right there are definitely the key to where I am today, no doubt, because they've definitely put a big help. They made it help. They helped me a lot, you know what I mean, to get to where I am today. So I can't thank them enough.
That's awesome. Okay, this is my last question. So for anyone who's watching and they want to find you online, where can they find you? Tell us what platforms you're on, if you have a website. Tell us how to find you online.
First, I have a website, GrantGarrison1.com. I have a Twitter. Grant Garrison 1 is the Twitter handle, and Grant Garrison 1 is the Instagram handle as well. And just Grant Garrison on Facebook. Send me a friend request. I'm not on it all the time. I'm terrible about my phone, but I do get on it sometimes. So I try to accept all of them if I can.
Well, thank you so much for meeting with me today and allowing us to share your story. And keep following us here on Crate Insider. We'll bring you more videos, and feel free to leave a comment about any videos you'd like to see in the future. See you in the next video.